Okay, so usually I sometimes go over, well, actually a lot of the time, I go over and start a stream like, okay, it's Tuesday stream, and then I go past midnight with it, right? Because it's just been so late. But this is different. Like, I'm actually starting and it's already Wednesday, but this is still technically Tuesday stream, which is fine, but it's really late then. So, yeah, I'll try to just... I didn't want to do like only this game. Like, this is basically just the equivalent of playing on Lichess or chess.com in the first place. I wanted to keep doing like a different chess game every week, but it's either hard to find one, or that's really worth doing, or just I don't really have the fucking energy or desire to do it. But there are a lot of random ones like on Steam, so I should always try like one here and there. Like for Halloween, I tried that Scholar's Mate, even though I didn't really play it for that long. It's just like there are so many things like that out there. I was really just looking for like a horror chess game, like psychological horror, but then you realize that chess itself is already that in its most base state. So let me actually see. We like really tanked it in the 10-minute format. I don't think I even have the energy to do 30-minute games. Let's try to just win some 10-minute things. I was doing really unusually bad the last couple episodes in this, so the beginning is always a little bit delayed, where like if they're white, it'll kind of guarantee that they made their move before they even do it, before you can even do anything. Like, fatal error has crashed. Interesting. Great start. That's why the premise of this game is good. Like, while you get 3D pieces and some amount of customization within the context of an active player base, right? Borrowing from Lichess, like we all understand that point, but the feedback it gives you is garbage. Like, there's nothing in the game. Like, what just happened? Did we lose rating? Did we abort? Like, nothing. Never mind the fact that it shouldn't have crashed in the first place, but at least that's not something we had an issue with too much. We had like a bug the one time where like our knight became a pawn, which was actually an improvement. So play like a normal game. Chess is like a very committing kind of game, in the sense that if you don't play it like all the time, and if you don't study and this and that, everything you do is kind of meaningless, because black offers draw. But why? There is something artificial about it. Like, just the innate state of playing the game, it's like, you know, I'd be more than happy to accept that, like, oh, somebody's innately better than me that way, right? Like, if we're just playing the game for the first time and we're on like a desert island, right, and you're better than me, that's fine. That doesn't even bother me. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. But that's not what it's about at all. I have to go. I have an exam. So then just, why the fuck did you just start? You just started playing and you have an exam. Like, are you stupid? And nobody's ever used this chat before, like... Okay, I can't do that. That's kind of good, I guess, by them a little bit. So take. So he starts the game and immediately offers draw and tries to this actually isn't as bad as you might think. Like, obviously that was a bad sequence, but go here. So he has queen, rook, and the knight. We have equalized the rooks, 2 bishops basically for a queen. So it's just kind of a dumb start. I don't know. I've been kind of playing a lot of these games very... See, it's like a form of arrogance, even though it's not justified. Like, oh, I'm so bad, so why am I so cocky or acting like it's such a foregone conclusion that I'm always going to win? But I am better than most of these people, and obviously this rating is, like, I'm at 1300 now. You wouldn't be able to tell because of the shit feedback this game gives, but the point is that it's just not indicative of any sort of meaningful level here. That should be an Octopus Knight proper because, yeah, you can't really do anything. Even your bishop can't push it out. You can trade it with your own knight, though. That's the problem. Right, like, there's nothing you can really do to stop that. If he just gets the knight somewhere here, I don't see how you really benefit. You could try to connect the two pawns there. So here we can push this out. And in the act of doing that, I should be able to... Actually, I can't do anything. I would have maybe been able to take that, but... You could take there, but I don't really want to. So if he takes en passant, I can take, which wouldn't have even been good for me, come to think of it. I don't want to do that, that's the thing. If he takes, I take, so it's okay. Archer bishop's not doing anything. This is fine. He could double stack. I got the free rook on the other side. Something bad does happen at this low level, like where you either underestimate people so much, or I don't know. It's like one extreme or the other. Like either you're a professional player, or you're not. Like there's no in between. So like, study for years and just get to 2000 and just be like a try hard, or just don't even bother playing chess. Like all the in between stuff is so stupid, but people always like, I don't know. Okay, that's pin. That's an interesting move, actually. You have this you can't take there. His rook is almost trapped, but not really, because like we would take. You can go here, you can go, you could actually just take here, I think. This is actually good, isn't it? Because I can double take. Could have just took there. He didn't have to do that, I don't think. Okay, this is fine. You're trying to take there. Let's see. Yeah, this is one of those things that almost suits the whole old ASMR style or whatever, of like, you know, whatever, my quiet nature and such. Chess is kind of a game that's perfect for that. So you could easily cover that, but you could have taken this already. Takes there. You can't really do anything more with that position though. He started off pretty strong. Now it's pretty much equalizing the position. You can go like this. So everything is fine. Rook and a queen versus rook and two bishops. Not too terrible of a position. This could be actually pretty bad. Now my king is just a little bit too open. You could double attack this, you could check there, I move here, check there. It doesn't seem like super straightforward how you would do this, but Or yeah, that's always the standard. Like, I'll always trash talk my opponent, like, oh, this guy sucks and he's doing such stupid things. But then even if I lose to them, it's like the standard is still the same. Like, I'm talking trash about them, but then also myself. Like, I shouldn't be losing to them. So it still applies. Like, what I'm saying is true, right? They are a clown, they are dumb, but that doesn't mean that maybe I'll get mated here, I don't even care. But that doesn't mean that it's not still valid. Okay, dude. He's not even playing that fast that he would think, oh, he has to do an exam. He can check there and it's just mate, I think, but he can't. He goes there. Attacking the queen, he could check. He can't really check there. Wait, what? What's he doing? You just move this and then you're ready to sack. Not that you want to do that, but could just be because he has to go. Like, he didn't even play that badly. In fact, he was winning the whole way. Or fuck, why did I even do that? I should still win actually, but king opposition, very unintuitive nature here. You know what this game is though, is it's kind of a lazy design because there's so many positive potential things with this, but like the presentation isn't that good. Like, there's a lot of things that are left to be desired. You can't go there, can't go there. His king basically can't move, so he almost has to just walk his thing into that, which in that case I wouldn't take. I would just keep going. I can't believe he clowned that up, dude. You take, but then I promote. Wait, how come I've never seen that animation? Was it different, or did I just never promote a piece in the entire game here? How did I even let that happen? Yeah, just give a whole bunch of random checks. We should be okay. I mean, there's no way I should lose. I don't know if I squandered from a win though. This check there. He could block. I could take. I should be able to gobble up some of these pawns though. Still. You can always block with the queen. There shouldn't be that big of a deal here. Gonna turn into a draw probably. I mean, if he had to go, he could have gone. He didn't have to fucking do all this, dude. Oh my god. You gotta gobble up this one pawn, or even if I don't, I can just kind of trade, and then let this one promote. His king is super far out of the way, so it should be hard for him to stop that from happening. So give a check like that, and then just he gives a check. Doesn't really do anything though. Yeah, he's just too far away. He takes. Yeah, but that is weird. I've never seen in a couple episodes of playing this the actual promotion screen itself. This is kind of an interesting setup I've been doing. Not only like my old school setup in a lot of ways, mic and whatever. Although I guess I'm using my current computer now, but some days I've been using like my old one and stuff. The point being that like I've never seen anybody like lying down doing face cam on stream. Like is that like, oh, cozy bedtime stream where you're kind of just like, you know, streaming in bed. Although I guess the point is like, why would anybody want to watch that? Why would anybody want to see somebody with face cam lying in bed streaming? But more to the point, why would anybody want to watch face cam in the fucking first place, whether you're sitting up or not? Well, who wants to see your ugly face? What the fuck does that have to do with anything that you're doing? But somehow this is the era that we're in. That was like the dramatic RP line that I was going to use for something one day. Be the world's first 2900 and fucking in chess, and that's like, you know, it's my destiny to destroy cult of personality and bring balance, or bring meritocracy back to chess, like bring balance to the force, like from Star Wars. It's just sad because people reward all the wrong things and then they wonder why something loses its value or something like that. If anybody was entitled to sort of reap the rewards of something like, you know, like, okay, Hikaru doing Twitch, it's like he's justified in doing that because he's so good and, you know, he played the game his whole life, and chess was never that rewarding at any point in history, but even in the modern era, it's still not that rewarding relative to the effort and how hard it is and whatever. But the point is that even though you'd be entitled to that, that still sort of diminishes something because, you know, if you were a chess player, that's the one thing you can say for sure, right? Is that they genuinely have a passion for it and they didn't do it for the money, because there is no money, is basically the feeling, especially throughout history, but even in the modern time. So yes, you're justified in trying to exploit it or trying to, you know, make money off of it, whether it be through selling a book or, you know, Twitch or whatever the case may be. So nobody's questioning that you have the right to do that, but in fact, even that's not the main issue, although that does open up a whole nother can of worms. It's more just like all these lower rated players who get credit, and there's like this normie justification of it, like, if you were to criticize that, like, why is this one person getting so much credit or attention, then you would realize that, you know, people would use some phony thing like, well, you're not as good as they are, or are you as, you know, you're 2,000 FIDE, something like that. It's such a low standard because it wouldn't matter, like, that's not the point, right? It's not a comparison to yourself. You're saying like you shouldn't be celebrated for that. Like if I was a mere 2,000 FIDE, I shouldn't be celebrated for that either. Which is the whole irony of like, I would never want to stream something like chess because I'd have to be a fucking grandmaster. Even then, it's not like particularly noteworthy. It's like, why would you even bother? Why would anybody want to see this? But take. Push here. That's the rule of attrition at the low level in chess. Is just like, you don't have to play well or do anything crazy or do anything brilliant. You just have to not fuck up or not do anything stupid, and usually you can get away with that. Although people are insanely good sometimes at ratings that you wouldn't expect. Like, maybe I read too much into ratings, but I do think something's odd about it. Like, I think I'm a pretty good judge of like either borrowed knowledge or something like that. Like, this happens in all kind of games. Like, I'll go and do like a blind first playthrough of something and there's a lot of hindsight bias. Like, you're just playing the game normally, and it's like, okay, maybe you don't know everything, or you get stuck, or you make mistakes, trial and error. You know, that's just a natural part of playing games. Like, you're not going to know everything, so there's going to be a learning period, and that's half the fun. Sometimes you made this mistake that's like, in hindsight, oh, of course, it's so obvious, why would you ever do that? But once you know, you know. But chess is the ultimate game for that, where it's like, you know, there's a sense of, I don't know, it's not only borrowed knowledge, but you can kind of tell, right? People will act like, oh, haha, we're so innately good, or this or that. But then you know that's not how it is. You know that Paul Morphy, for all his greatness, didn't do some of the lines that you see people casually doing at 1200 rating today. Or Albert Einstein didn't come up with some of these things because the theory just wasn't available at the time. So even he played at a lower level than like what I'm playing at now, technically. If you analyze some of his games, like against Oppenheimer or whoever, so there is something phony about it. So you can see through that and see, like, okay, the borrowed knowledge is far more impactful than, what the fuck was that? Is far more impactful than whatever. Is far more impactful than the fucking innate aspect of it. That's like a great chess variant, like one where you get to, you know, the no study variant, basically. It should be kind of hard to enforce and whatever, but in principle, like, just, and again, that's why people would say, what about faster formats? Because then whatever you study, you're not going to be able to draw upon quickly enough. And it's hard to actually say that. Like, would a faster format emphasize what you studied more? Like, you have to rely on it because you can't rely on calculation. So you have to rely entirely on what you know and what you studied. Or is it the opposite? Like, you can't draw upon that because you don't have enough time. You just have to calculate and do stuff on a whim, improvisationally more. I tend to still prefer longer formats in that sense. Like, you don't know what you're doing, but you have time to at least figure it out. But even that's an equalizing factor, because yes, your opponent could do theoretically the same thing. But I guess either I tend to often be more patient than other people and actually use my time, or I use it better, although it's not really the case here. So I have queen and bishop. He has queen, bishop, rook. Again, I'm not, this is one of those just like lazy kind of games. I'm just not even looking at what's happening. So you get this one. Yeah, if you try to play chess like a normal game, not that necessarily people play games like that anyway, but it has some weird lacking to it, because you could take that. If I take this, sort of a choice. So see, if people chose not to play the game like that, at least at the low level or in a certain manner of speaking, if people chose not to do that, then it's basically like, uh-oh. Wow, incredible. Just go here, go here. No, but it still wouldn't be mate. But I'd have to give this up, wouldn't I? At least here it's like less likely that somebody would snipe me, because it won't show like, oh, you're live on whatever. Okay. I wouldn't use it as an excuse like, oh, I only play chess once a week, so of course it's going to be worse. But there is something just weird, like, this is like the lowest level I played at in a while the last couple times, because I'll blame the 3D pieces, even though arguably that should help. I don't think it really helps or hurts. It's just sort of a thing that I like. Or I would still prefer just to play on the chess itself, actually, because we get to use the custom pieces that way. somewhere along the line I just get lazy here and I just don't even care. Right, like it's not hard to just equalize any of these games. Just finagle a draw out of it or something dumb. Like, what is the significance of that move? Yeah, that's the base level of calculation that sometimes people would mock. Like, I'm trying to figure out what they're trying to do, but then people would act like, oh, well, of course it's obvious what they're trying to do, or there's no point trying to figure out what they're trying to do because it's already settled science. Like, it's some sort of engine line that's just a foregone conclusion, so it doesn't matter what they're trying to do. You can't stop it anyway. This is how the game is treated. Like, or that old expression I use, like, chess is such a good game because it has all these billions and trillions of possibilities of moves, but also any move that you make, people would always say, well, there was a better move, or like there's a right and wrong move in every situation. So yes, there's all this incredible variety of moves, but the way that people treat it is it's bogged down to there's only like one right and wrong answer to every single thing. And so what's the point? Because all those amazing infinite options don't mean anything because people treat it like the settled science that it is. Everything is just set in stone by theory and so forth. You can say that's true with any game, but it's not necessarily the case, especially anything that happens in real time. And that's the whole irony of how chess works. Like, what it comes down to is, okay, at the highest level, right, Magnus Carlsen and, you know, Jan or somebody in the world championship will draw every game, let's say. So this is the highest level of chess that you aspire to, and standard bears and all this kind of stuff. You play 12 games, you draw every game, and then what does it come down to? Oh, it comes down to time. So in other words, a turn-based game that's so complicated and so good and based in all these different high-level standards, it comes down to time. In other words, real-time movement. Like, oh, I moved the wooden pieces on the board faster than you. Not that I'm better than you, not that I'm, you know, actually beating you. It's so equalized in such a solvable game that every game's going to be a draw if you play it at the right level, the highest level. And then it comes down to who can actually move the pieces faster. Even when people say that, like if you say, turn-based game is always less complicated than a real-time game because there's so many millions of things that are happening at a time and this and that, right? Like any nuance of like a second late reaction, early reaction, that can be the difference. And so there's this ongoing sense of value there, but because it bogs down to the same thing. So it's so hilarious to look at it like that. Because chess is turn-based, it becomes bogged down to that very same standard. And so the defining factor is still turning it into a pseudo real-time game by saying that, oh, we have to do tie breaks and blitz or rapid or whatever in a way that, you know, it would be a draw every other time otherwise. Not that it always is, but at such a high level, people always do that. And sometimes people will try to defend it that way and say, well, that's only relevant if you're like the really very best players in the world, which I don't even believe that's true. I feel like if you're evenly matched at various levels, you're going to see a lot of draws that way regardless. But especially at the highest level, it's still kind of a bad representation of the game because that's not what games are designed to do objectively. Like, you know, you make a game and you say you should try this game, and if you're good enough at it and if you play it the best way you're supposed to play it, then you'll get a draw every time. So why is that something you would want to do? So it's, again, it's irrespective of the individual. Like, oh, well, that's not an issue I'm having. Although, honestly, there's so many instances where I show that can be the case. Like, it'll be a draw or a win every single game unless I do something objectively dumb. Like, and you could hold that standard pretty much forever. Or more to the point, if you had enough time to think about it, like if you play longer formats. So it shows you that time is the only important defining factor, really, to an extent where if I were to sit there and go through every line and every tree of moves, you would think like, okay, I'll play a correspondence game at a grandmaster level, because you could technically sit there and just do that, but obviously like, do you really have the patience or desire to even do that is the point. Or I like this sort of other standard that people sometimes have where it's like they treat it, this isn't just like true with chess, but just with a lot of things in general, they'll treat it like the end all be all of something, like defining their whole ego by one thing. In other words, like, it is ultimately, okay, it's a board game, it's just whatever, not everybody cares about it to the extent that, you know, like, it's that meaningful. So to them it might just be a board game, so they don't really care. Like, sure, this is a board game, but yet they'll still, I don't know how to explain it. Like the entry is consent standard, so they'll hold it to a high standard. Like, you know, anybody who plays it is trying to be a professional player, or anybody who plays it is trying to do something crazy with it, even if they're not, and they're just literally, you know, playing it just for various reasons. So certain games have that sort of community, like where they assume what your intent with the game is. Just, oh my god. He's like, I know that's gonna happen, but I still let it happen. Yeah, it's like assuming intent that, like, oh, you just want to be the best, or like you, like, it's so weird how people do that. You know, you could be playing a game for the first time. We saw that, like, with a couple of these things I posted, I guess. Interesting psychology thought experiment with the YouTube videos. Like, let's say, okay, I play Magic the Gathering for the first time, or I play Path of Exile for the first time. Those are at least two good examples. And everybody is like having a fucking aneurysm over it or something. Right, like they're trying to prove something, but it's like all you're doing is just playing it. Like, why is that such a big deal to them? Right, you're not trying to be a professional esports player with it. You're not trying to prove anything with it or do anything with it. You're literally just playing it. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. You could take there. It's really the rook that I'm worried about. I feel like he had something maybe better there than what he actually just did. Yeah, there's like a zero-sum sensibility to it, which makes even maybe more sense with a game like chess, because you think, okay, you're playing to win, and if you're not, then what's the point? Even though there is plenty of point beyond that, it's still just more like you would take, I would take, and then he would take the rook, though. At least with chess, it makes a little more sense. With a lot of games, though, it doesn't, because it's so much more open-ended that you could be doing a million different things with it. So it's just interesting how people think like that. And so everybody, like, it's just a standard, like, oh, everybody knows everything and is an expert on the game the first time they play it. And even if that's true, it's like, okay, fine, what, who cares? But it's more I don't know, it's like a very egotistical thing for them. So you go here, he would go here, here, here. I don't know what's happening. He would check, I would take, he would check, I would take. It shouldn't really matter that much. If I go here, he could check, or he could just go here is the problem. G7. I might have to sack this. I'm not even sure. Yeah, see, this is almost all I ever wanted in a chess game. Like, this is still playing on a website, but it feels a little bit more interesting. I should fuck around with all the custom pieces and stuff, but every episode, I guess I could try another one. Yeah, they gotta make a game like this with chess.com, though, where it takes the player base there and does it. It's such a simple idea, but somehow I literally almost deserve credit for this idea. Not that, you know, obviously I'm the only one to think of it or something, but it is very intrinsic to how I do things. Like, well, the point was, like, okay, just make a game with an actual active player base, but that's easier said than done. For a game like chess, you wouldn't think it should be that big of a deal to do. Like, how can there not be a single game like that out there? So you got the mate there. Almost like a mind trick. Like, why would I allow him to do that? It's because you guys just don't care. Perhaps not the greatest idea to always play so late or something, but that's not really even a good excuse. Or to play only once a week or whatever. I don't even know what rating I am. This is both maybe a plus and a minus, that you don't think about that too much, so you don't psych yourself out or something, but also you don't maybe value it as much. So I was like, you know, at least saying around 1500 in rapid, which is not anything impressive, but that was at least fine. But now we're probably at like 1200, which is an insane drop. This is good. He'll bring the knights, just trade everything. For as much as I like the longer format, sometimes I can get super impatient where, like, you know, either I want to do that or I play it like it's fucking hyper bullet, even in a 10-minute game. Now that's a bad move pretty much no matter what, but who cares? This is actually fine. You could bring this here, but then you have no way to really disrupt those pawns. But maybe it's not that valuable. Let's trade that off. We have the one knight, so this one pawn is very awkward and out of the way. That's kind of a surprising move to make. You go here, you have like a pseudo octopus knight, but it's not in the greatest position because it's kind of too much in my own territory to be that good, I think. Yeah, that's fine with me. So the only weak link here seems to be this pawn. I think they still haven't added like any sort of customization options at all, which is kind of dumb. How lazy can you be? It's amazing how hard it is. Like, it's just chess, dude. Why is it so hard to make a definitive, classic, proper game of chess? Right, the one ubiquitous thing that everybody plays. Aside from these websites, there is no like great way to play it. As much as I was rooting for this game, it's not really that impressive in the execution of it. They really did it in the bare minimum, sort of laziest way possible. Which doesn't mean it isn't good still, but it's one of those things, like, it's good within the category because there's nothing else like it. So you almost don't have a choice, but targeting this if you move the queen, targeting this, which you can't really cover. I don't know why he even did that. Boy, I'd sure like to see what my rating actually is, but I fucking can't. I'm too lazy to go to the website, or there's some amazing you can play the game. You can play a game on the chess here, but you can't see it. Isn't that weird? Like, you can't see the feedback of the site, whether it be analysis or ratings or anything like that, but yet you can actually play there, and this obviously impacts your rating. So your rating can change, but you don't even know what it is. It's just weird why that feature would be so hard to show. Or wait, that didn't even work the way I thought it was going to work. Like, I thought, oh no, if he takes, then I take for free, but he checks there, doesn't, oh shit, that does kind of matter. So we trade in. You should still be able to win a position like this, you would think, but some of these pawns are a little bit awkwardly placed, to be sure. We could bog down to a draw, and we're both playing so fast, within 2 to 3 minutes we just trade everything off. So you have no choice but to trade. And so you go like this, you can go like this maybe. Or that was kind of good because he lets you take the... He'll take the pawn, nothing you can do about these two. Take this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm in a slightly better position actually pawn wise, but the position of them is not the best, I guess. You go here and then you give the check, then you could have took this maybe. Yeah, that's fine. At some point you're not going to be able to cover all these, huh? Go to B1 and I wouldn't have been able to do anything. You go here just to protect. If he checks there, we could be in a little bit of trouble for sure. Uh-oh. You have like no great way to actually to try to win this though. To bring it down, I wouldn't even be able to really give a check. You can't really even move too well, or if you go there, I could try to go here and then try to just double take on it. That we can't really do anything to save it. He'll check and then it won't necessarily, or no, it would just be a mate there, wouldn't it? Because if you check, no, it wouldn't be. Okay, I mean, at some point you're not going to be able to do it anymore. You take there, I take there. Can't really get in here to take this, but I guess the king would be able to come in a moment here. For fuck's sake. Now, because I can't give a check, I effectively would have to sack for it, because if I move the thing, then if I stay there, I'd have to sack it anyway. He only has one pawn, but he doesn't even need the pawn. Let's see if we get a little clown stalemate here. So fucking stupid, man. If I just kill this one pawn, you should be okay, but he's not gonna let me do it. I don't think I've gotten a stalemate in like hundreds of games, literally, like, not where my opponent's done it, but like where I've actually done it. Yeah, something about the UI and the feedback is, and this is not the greatest. Not that I was expecting anything too crazy, but it has to at least equal what the site is going to give you. Maybe I should look at my stats a little bit. But yeah, this is one of those almost seemingly deliberate throw experiences, like where I'm just not even remotely trying or interested in what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. I don't know why. I'm not gonna blame this game for it. This was also just like my return to the chats after. Oh, I guess I'm not as low as I thought. 1360 apparently, which is now I'd have to go out of my way to analyze it too. On there, like I'd have to fucking log in, and it doesn't let you log in there while you're logged in here. It's like all kind of stupid shit. I'm surprised I'm actually not lower than that because I went on such an insanely bad streak. Just trying to play a little safer here. But see, like that game was a perfect example. Like everything was even, and then I just kind of lose interest towards the end, I guess. It's not like he did something crazy impressive or whatever. That's fine with me. Oh, whoops. So that would be obviously good for him. It opens the king, but not that big of a deal. But again, I'm just not even looking at what he's doing because I'm just whatever. So this is covered. I could have, can't really raise it. He could try to do something with the bishop to take. That doesn't really matter. I cannot imagine that was a good move for him to do there. You can't even take there. You could take the bishop itself. Try to take the stupid knight. You can't go here. You could go here. Doesn't really do anything though. Take this. He takes. Not really a good move either. You take there, you take that, okay. Give a check. You can't really even block, can you? Okay. Go here, take. Queen side castle, interesting maneuver. You take this. Not as bad a position as it looks, but I'm playing like super Zerg style for no reason. Okay, alright. Yeah, I'm actually gonna blame the 3D pieces. They made me do it. Somehow it makes me play worse. Or I'm just so not used to it because I never really play, you know, never play over the board. But this is the closest way you're ever gonna get to simulate that. Let's see. Give it a check. I don't know. That's the ultimate philosophy in chess. You can compensate for ability with time, whether it be in a literal sense, like the time format, or whether it be in a broad sense, like just playing the game a lot and like whatever. But that's almost not even relevant here because I was already playing at a much higher level than all this. Just, you know, without needing any extra benefit or extra study or whatever. Even just the willingness to do that I liked, where, you know, like, let's see how far I can get without studying, which maybe wasn't all that far or that impressive, but it's just, at least, you know, give yourself that chance and at least try. I hate that notion of like, people are going to be playing a game for the first time and they're already trying to metagame, min-max, use borrowed knowledge, and sort of like cheat the process. But it's like, you haven't even had the base experience of the game and what it's like, you know, where you're trying to figure out things for yourself. So why would you skip ahead and just go to the, you know, to the end game already? Could be a real possibility of a stalemate there. I could have just took the rook, but none of these games are very interesting. Like, I am fairly objective when it comes to that. It's like, if you beat me in a good quality kind of game, I don't mind. But I do mind this because it just doesn't feel very meaningful. Because then I win games like that all the time too. Like, oh yeah, they just wonder their queen. Like, is that really do you really feel good about that? Yeah, that's the most brutal truth of chess. Not only is it super time consuming, but it's like dumb. The ratio of how much that has an impact. You could say that's true with anything, but not to the same extent, I don't think. And I certainly never thought about that. And I almost take personal issue with that, like the romanticized view of chess, the way that people talk about it and act like either it's so innate or certain. It's like a lot of what I've observed and said about chess is just counteracting all those things, because even I bought into a lot of them myself. Just like, oh, it's so a measure of innate genius or intelligence, or it's this, it's that. Like, so many things are said about it just aren't true. You could take there, actually. There's a certain naive element I guess you have to like care so much about a mere board game, which seems strange to say, but like, you have to really take it seriously and really care about what you're doing, which is sometimes really hard to do with it, because it's like, I don't know, it can be so repetitive sometimes. So this would be a fork if not for the thing there. I'm surprised he didn't take that. Yeah, a lot of those aren't even assertions about chess or anything. It's more just like counteracting things which are said or like misstated about how the game actually works. So that I can't really do anything. Or that's actually annoying, because if I go here, you can double, triple take. I don't like pinning myself down to that. If you go here, I can't take. Wonder how many people have done like 24-hour chess streams in their repertoire. Like, is that a common thing? You would think Hikaru or somebody might have, but I almost don't see the point, or I don't see what your level of play could be expected to be at that stage. I did like that fucking 14-hour stream the one time of just chess, or I did a couple 12-hour ones. Like, it's just so stupid. And usually on those days I didn't make any progress, right? You're just gonna get worse or keep going back and forth, up and down with your play. You'd rather not play it like that. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. This is also fine. Or let him take, I guess. Was an extra mistake on his part, or is that all part of his master plan? Because sometimes you have to wonder whether a mighty 1300 is capable of making mistakes, because so often they don't. Or they're reserved only for me to make. It's like the bad habit of just expecting it to be too easy. Some games it will be super easy where they'll just they'll just give you their queen or do something really above and beyond just to make your life a joke, but then you have to put forth a little effort, and oh, now that's too much. It's like you're spoiled by the nature of the low level competition, and you're letting that influence your play too much, right? Instead of just trying to play the best you can, whatever low standard that might be at, you're actually just really playing down to your competition. Like, oh, they're gonna make a mistake, so it's okay if I don't play as good as I can or try my best, because I can just get by and win most games even then, even if I don't play that well. So that's a very insidious psychological tendency that you should not allow to cripple your play, but I obviously do a lot. This one's kind of annoying because he could have done a lot with it. Like, if he had just ever gone there before my bishop was here, like, you go there and I can't take it, so it's just awkward. I'd have to go out of my way, go log in on the site, then analyze the games there, and then, like, whatever, see my rating and stuff. It's sort of inconvenient, and sure, you might say, oh, it's not officially affiliated with the site, but that's besides the point, because on one hand, it's sort of leeching off the site in terms of its player base, so you better give back to it, make your own analysis engine in this game just to review the games. I don't see how that would be negative either. Like, you're not cheating because that would have nothing to do with it. You're not using it during the course of a game. Okay, so the queen is there. Nothing crazy is happening with this position. Let's see. Can't move this pawn. I'm surprised he hasn't made more of a point to try to take that. That almost looks scary, but it's actually fine, I think. A lot of the complaints that even I had of the game, or whatever feedback I gave on that and on the Steam and stuff, what happened? Haven't been fixed. And as I say that, the game kicks me out. You're like, what happened there? Did I win? Did I lose? Did it abort? Nobody knows. What the fuck? The one game just disconnected there at the beginning, like one of the first games too. What happened? Like, we just got disconnected for no reason. We got that for free. It almost seemed like a time where he would have disconnected because he was clowned by losing that knight there. My mouse is not working all of a sudden. You could check with that and then check something on the back rank maybe too. I'm kind of giving up this pawn because I don't really know what to do with it, and this is going to end up causing trouble with respect to being pinned down and stuff. Yeah, there's so many things you could do with this. Like, just have millions of different things, different boards, different environments, backgrounds, kind of let you walk around RP and stuff as you're fucking doing this, or have custom fan-made ones, sell them as microtransactions, which actually some of these games do. Like Chess Ultra. Chess Ultra has pretty good presentation, but it's a problem because it's lacking the player base, so that's all this sort of game is trying to do, where it takes that idea and combines it with actual players, like the most important part of the game. Yeah, I tanked pretty hard in classical too when I was when I had first come back here. It kind of coincided, like I was using this game as a way to come back to a chess because I was going to do that anyway, with chess being the ultimate backup whenever I fail my chess.com challenges. And then I'm forced to go to like fucking Roblox chess. So yeah, as far as my whole chess video game anthology thing, I was trying to play some other ones like that, even the ones that I had played before. Roblox was actually an awesome experience because it's actually very active, that server. You would never think that sentence would come out of your mouth, but like, I had fun playing Roblox chess. More active community than any chess game in existence besides the websites, like, unironically true. Like, imagine saying that. I'll put a review on Chess Ultra on Steam that says 0 out of 10 less active than Roblox chess, and that's an objective fact. Like, why the fuck is that the case though? There's no chess game on Steam that has more viewers, more players than fucking Roblox chess. And sure, you might say, oh, the level of play is low, and I love that too. They'll say, oh, it's just a bunch of little kids. You're picking on little kids. Also, little kids are super grandmasters at the age of 12 and 14, and like, not saying that those kids exactly are, but chess is the one thing where you can't really use age as a disqualifying factor because there are so many incredible kids, and if you start playing at a young age, you could be one of them. Like, it's a very big overlap. Some of the best players are always like that. In fact, that almost always happens. There's very few people who don't start when they're young who become really good later, and I'll be one of those. Not that I didn't play when I was younger, but not that much. Like, I would, I'd play 1 or 2 games a week, or like a little bit here and there, and I would feel like that's a lot. Little did I know, like, that's the old standard. Like, oh yeah, study. I can tell you how to become a grandmaster. And people would be so interested. Wow, really? You know the answer? How come you're not one then? And this and that. Oh, all you'd have to do is study for 5 hours a day for 20 years. And as soon as you hear that, you're like, oh, fuck that. I don't want to do that. And I'm not saying that's a guarantee, but it almost should be, because imagine doing that and not being a grandmaster. You'd have to be a failure. But like, most people don't want to do that with anything in life, to put that much time and effort and dedication. But especially with a board game, it's like, maybe they just don't care that much. And you might think, oh, that's an excuse, but that's where the whole egotism comes in. It's like, it's a choice that you're making. Like, not everybody cares that much about it. It's like, oh, why aren't you a professional athlete if you play sports for fun? Or why aren't you a professional chef if you cook food every night? Why aren't you a professional chess player if you play chess? That's the stupid entry is consent standard that people use. That's like, because you do something, the assumption is you're trying to do it in a professional sense, and you're trying to, really prove something with it. And people use that to fluff their own ego, like it's a big deal. Like, wow, they're better than you at a game that they play more than you, or that they care about more than you, or whatever. Sometimes very strange standard, because that's always my, like, I hold such high standards in different formats and things. Like, if you're gonna do it, then be really hardcore with it, to try to be like one of the best players in the world. Don't do this half-ass standard of like, what is even happening? What the fuck is this game, dude? Why is it bugging out so much today? So, I mean, I won, but it's not giving me credit, I guess. So cool. It reverted to, like, you know, going in negative time to now raising his time. I don't even care, man. Just forget it. The fuck are you doing, man? Whatever, I'm done, and then we'll just look at the website itself. Just analyze a couple games. I'm done, dude. Oh, look, that game's still going on, apparently. I don't know how the fuck this works. So I lost on time. Is everything okay? Are you here? Yeah. Is everything okay? No, the game that I'm playing this in is fucking bugged out. That's the problem. We had more bugs today than normal. Even in that. Normally it hasn't been that big of a deal, besides that one night turned to pawn incident. Like, here, this was a bug with time. And how did he have 4 minutes, though? Because you saw there that his time ran out. I guess I had just DC'd somehow in the middle of that. So it bugged out with that. It bugged out with something else earlier too, which I forgot. It just kind of kept disconnecting certain games and stuff. Which some of that maybe could be the site's issue too. Like, what if Lichess is having maintenance or some other issue like that? The 1350, pretty crazy to think, you know, 150 I can get back, but it's not like I play enough to be able to do that either. And yeah, I still have this. I thought they got rid of that if you don't do it for a while, which I haven't done, even though I've been using the site. Let's just look at in 11 hours and 10 hours. What does that mean in 10 hours? Are we in some sort of temporal loop here? Like, I'm literally time traveler. So that game happened in 11 hours. Like, what the fuck is going on, dude? Why does it say that? I have to go. This dude's getting clowned. Go ahead and analyze it. And when I say analyze, I just do it for the sake of having it in the database for whatever. Not because I actually am going to look through it. So this one I won. He kind of was in a hurry or whatever. It's fine. Don't play chess if you have real life obligations or responsibilities or anything. Or I could just stop it and say, don't play chess if you have a real life, period. 86%, 39. So this one I lost. 1377. This one apparently I won. So we keep going kind of back and forth. Win one, lose one. A lot of these are not very instructive or enjoyable though. I can't really even complain about the format though, because I'm not putting forth any effort and time or even trying to look at what's happening. So yes, I play better in 30-minute games, and 10-minute can sometimes be too short, but that's not even the level that I'm playing at right now to be able to say that anymore. Because yeah, by that logic, if I played a 30-minute game, I would only use like 5 minutes, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, this is like the equivalent of streaming on console. Like, people say, oh, you can stream directly from your console, but, or like, you know, streaming on console is better than streaming on PC. Also, in order to stream on PC or on console, you need a PC and a capture card and all this kind of other crap. It's the same thing here. It's like, wow, chess exclamation mark is such a good game, but also you need to fucking use the website itself while using the game to be able to actually analyze it or see what's actually happening. It doesn't keep track of anything, dude. Even in a vacuum, it should just, like, for the session that you've opened the game and played the game, it should tell you, okay, you've won X and lost X games. Like, why would that be so hard to do? You're not even measuring it from the site. You're just measuring it from what's actually happening during the course of that session of what you're doing. So when the people were using the chat in there, I wonder if that means, oh, that means it does work from here, because the guy was saying it here, and that chat appeared so the chat's the one thing that does seem to interact with the site. Like if you're in the game and you type something in the chat, it'll show up here, or vice versa. If they type something here, it'll show up in the chat there. So it doesn't mean they're actually playing the game itself, because probably nobody is playing the game, because so that one actually just bugged out and froze. No, I'm not okay. My house caught on fire. Like, what the fuck you want me to do, dude? So that was not particularly productive. We're still 1350-ish, so I can easily get back to 15. It's just, do I have the patience to actually do it? See you tomorrow.